Hello, it's Nikki. You may remember at the beginning of the year. You may not. You're probably not even watching that closely. Or maybe you are. Either way, at the beginning of the year, I made a decision that I was going to invest in myself, like in a pretty big way. I wrote all these goals down of like, yeah, woo, 2020. I mean, 2020 has been slightly different for all of us, but yeah, I was still committed to doing it and going for it. And when I was writing these goals down, I was just thinking, I actually don't know how to do this all by myself. Or I get so far with things and then I have a moment of like, I don't know, I can't do it. I can't do it. That moment when you fall off your bike, like, no, I don't want to get on. So I'm now at the end of month 3 of that year-long process. And I thought it might be interesting to track it and to talk about it and what has been the journey so far. So I've got 5 points to share with you, and it's been quite fascinating actually myself putting down these thoughts on paper. So the first thing that I wanted to say was it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it was the perfect timing, but I didn't feel perfect to do it. And I also was really ready, but I was really scared. And this happens all the time with my coaching clients, is that somehow people are waiting for the right time, or they don't feel perfect. And sometimes there's this sense of like, really, I don't know, maybe this kind of interaction is further down the line. And as this coach that I'm working with it's a year-long thing, I was kind of convincing myself like, well, maybe I'll feel ready in like 6 months because, you know, I only had my daughter last year. And this is not to say like, if you've just had a baby, you should absolutely do this, because it's different for everybody. But ultimately, I had to listen to that instinct of like, come on, Raby, get going. Like, this is your time. Like, you need to be doing this. So I think it's important to realize that those two things very much go alongside each other. You can be really ready, but you can be really scared. It can be the perfect timing, but you can feel really imperfect doing it. The second thing, what have we got on this post-it note? I had to be really gentle with myself, because immediately when I started working on the process, I could have easily been really cruel to myself and gone, oh, I can't believe you've not even done this. Like, why haven't you thought about this before? Oh my goodness, you're such a failure. Like, why are you still struggling with this moment? And let's face it, none of that is going to be helpful, is it? None of that is going to be supportive in how I move forward. So I had to be gentle with myself and say things in that very like nurturing way of like, you did what you thought was right at the time, or you only knew what you knew, or like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're in a really great place now. You've made the decision. I had to use that really nurturing language with myself, because so easily I can go into that like, you know, that's articulate, isn't it? But here we go. Okay. Number 3 was about getting, here we go, really focused on what I wanted to achieve. And I think sometimes it can be easy, especially when you're working with people, or especially if you're surrounded in your sector, in your industry, you can really take on some of those traits or language. Or sometimes I see that when I see people working with a coach, I can almost like hear where they have trained or where they're working, because they go, right, I'm just going to do this template and I'm just going to copy their sales page and off we go. And I was really determined not to do that. You know, as much as I'm saying I had all that self-doubt and fear, I really did know what I wanted to achieve, and I felt really connected with my vision. And when you're working with other people who give you an input, it can be really easy to sort of take that on. So every step of the way, and not that my coach or anybody kind of surrounding me would inflict that on me and go, you should do this, because I'm not kind of available for that feedback. But I had to not be swayed, I guess, and stay true to what I wanted to do. And that's, I guess, why I'm really keen when I'm working with clients. Like, I don't have an agenda. I'm not like, okay, in our 3 months together, this is what it's going to look like, and this is what you need to do. That's why I send people pre-work. It's really important that they get what they need to from the process. This is a tricky one. Number 4, it is way easier to play small and stay the same. So many times through this process, I'm like, it's not working quick enough, like, actually, or I fall into old patterns of like, oh, actually, like, it's fine with this, like, I'm doing all right, like, do I really need to do this? Shouldn't I just be grateful for what I have? Yeah. It is easier to stay the same. It really is. And in fact, that's what you want to do sometimes. It's like when you start running, by about minute 1, you want to sit down. You want to take yourself out the race because you see what's ahead and you go, nah, mate, I'd rather just sit on the curb actually and have a Twix and not do that. Because moving out of your comfort zone, even though you see these beautiful images of people, you know, standing on the edge of a cliff, feeling all stretchy and gorgeous and all the rest of it, it's quite ugly at the time. Like, when I'm out of my comfort zone, you can see these frown lines really coming out to play. It isn't a glamorous moment. I'm not exhaling and breathing in my best life. I'm kind of it's the analogy of like looking at your skin, trying some new skincare, and then going, ooh, all this like grimo stuff is coming out. There's a nice analogy for you. Okay, so number 5, it's been really about noticing and collecting the data and really figuring out what is working and being really analytical. So not only have I really been forced to study my own patterns and behavior and mindset and really look at stuff and uncover it, which sometimes is quite painful because it's like, oh, I do that. Oh, I didn't realize I do that. Oh, no wonder that's happening. That can be quite a painful process sometimes. But equally, if I really focus on what is working, I do more of it. And then more of the good stuff starts to happen. Whereas if I'm just in a headspace of la la la, we'll just see what happens, and I keep trying things and throwing spaghetti at the wall, I'm not tracking that progress. I'm not seeing that. And I think sometimes as creatives or personal brands, we're like, I'm not a statistic. I don't want to think about it in that kind of way. Actually, I just need to connect with what's going on. So sorry, somebody just messaged me at the same time. That's why I lost my trail of thought. Honesty, #honesty. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I could tell you about the money increases and all that glitzy, glorious stuff, but you know, I don't want to yet. There we go. I don't want to. I'm not one necessarily yet for sharing my bank account and saying like, oh my goodness, this has happened and this is going on. But there have been some significant changes. Let's just say that. If you've got any questions, let me know. If I can help you, equally, let me know. Book a free 15-minute session. You can find out more. And thank you for being on the journey. Thank you for listening. So that's the end of month 3. Thanks for watching, listening. If you know somebody who might find this useful, let me know. And also the reason I wanted to make this is so you can see it in the mix, and it's good for me to document as well, rather than, you know, after a year where you just see the kind of the end of the makeover. Like, here I am, I was nothing, and now look at me. No, the line is very much like this. Anyway, I will see you soon. Bye.